person? No, there's just
out there. Okay.
hangers and
Okay.
racks out there.
Okay.
Who's ever caught will hang it up.
Here. Oh, you know.
Maybe it's it might be Joseph Russell.
Look good in the yearbook.
I'll just
Oh, go back.
See, now you made it work. Thank you.
woohoo! At least it won't fall off this time.
And there's a lot of green as you know.
I think the batteries are supposed to make the solar panels.
They can have barbecue in the field, but they always get trouble in there.
Yeah.
You're gonna literally. What's our state? You got the battery wet.
Okay, so it looks like the judge right here.
Yes.
And then well, we don't know if Owen's gonna do it.
Well, Haley texted you and you left her unopened.
Here you go, buddy.
So I'm just going to show you. We're right here. This is our city here.
Oh, okay.
Everyone kind of stays out here while the judging's going on. We even keep the rest of the team members out of here.
That's what he told me.
Right. So thank you guys.
Where's the magnet?
Down this hallway, the last door at the end. Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
Is this enough or do you want more?
This is fine.
Okay.
2 days before the deadline, so I should be in free.
What day are we?
September 3rd,
You're
2006.
okay. I thought you were about to
She said just to put them first. And then we need the exact magnet up there. Yeah, I found it. He was right out at the basement.
That took you too long. Now I don't want it. When would you like to start? Well, somebody's gotta hold it the whole time.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. 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 Alright, guys. Ready? John is Jason. Smile for the camera.
You didn't make 3 of them, did you?
You're going to read this. They're going to be on another page. Read these. They're all in sequence. They're all the same information on each page. It's the same thing. It's just, don't worry about it. Useless. That because you're now all on the same format. You're all on the same side. Everybody, you didn't make 3 of these, did you? Exactly. So they're not going to be able to follow you if you're following this. It's the same thing, but if he's looking at this and you're looking at this, you're going to be doing this and he's going to be flipping a page. And he's not. Okay? Get in sequence.
It's heavier than water. Okay, fine. We're not gonna put rocks in it. Are they gonna need more water, Matt? Look at TV show or something like that. Who read the answer? I want to see what are you doing? I'm on like this time. Right, so okay, well, I'll do public service.
Yeah, the history, the museum that has history are starting for
Titles per month.
and then every day we're shopping there, good for the locals and the ones that kind of stuck with us. And
Yeah, exactly.
this part of the area,
Let's touch fascinating.
pretty fascinating presentation.
Chloe, or Freydis on food.
Oh,
Any type of rules or regs?
Which one do you want to watch?
Good day on this Saturday.
Hi, good morning.
But you're the one that told me not to stand in front of the
Can we move all of our stuff back there so that people don't have to see it?
down here. And then this is where the water's going to go. Yes, and then this is pumping station.
We also have the water purification bike, which also did not true seriously. I was researching the water going up here.
Oh, so it's like a little city on top.
You know, the rest of the team were like, just, us. And we just came in and like, oh my goodness.
Very nice.
Come on. Let's put it back in.
Judging is going to start here. This is where you're going to be doing the presentation, the oral presentation, and showing your models to the judges. The first 5 minutes when they come out here at 8:30, they're just going to come, look at the model, you guys introduce yourself, say your names and everything to the judges, and then you guys will have 7 minutes to give the presentation. And then after that, I'll give you a 1 minute warning, and after that, it's time for questions, and you can do 8 minutes, up to 8 minutes, and then do the scoring. Now for this side, during round 1, the special awards will be judging over here. They'll be coming, you guys don't have to give a formal presentation, they'll be coming and talking to you, looking at your models. The special awards are given out by the engineering and architect organizations, such as Best Futuristic City, for example, that may be a special award. So they'll be coming out here, it's not as formal, but they'll be coming out here, looking at your models and questions, or ask questions. So that's teams 12 through 22. So after that, the judges will go back, score, and then you guys will have a couple minutes, and then it will be round 2. Then everything flops. So preliminary judging for round 2, teams 12 through 22. You guys will then give the oral presentation and the questions to the judging. And then at that time, the special awards judging for teams 1. So you guys will be giving presentations on round 1 and 3, and you will be giving formal presentations on round 2 and 4. So at noon, that's when the top 5 teams are going to be announced. So
Oh, it's closed. On top. That's why. Sports. Oh. That's pretty cool. That's really what's wrong with her? That's pretty cool. I'm coming outside. Yes, be outside. Yes, outside.
First of all, I want to thank you all for coming and participating. We have a lot of people here, so I'm glad to see that we have a lot of parents, so thank you all for supporting your students or your kids on this, and teachers and engineers supporting the students. So I'm Don Whitmer, I'm the regional coordinator here in Chicago. I apologize this year, I did not get things done. I should have got done this year with some things, so some of the stuff's going to be a little bit after the fact, but we will be getting things to you. We're actually thinking of dropping stuff off at all the schools, so you can see your school. I'll take a day off from work and drive around and stuff. When that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and get our top 5 teams announced. Once that happens, I know some of you already, wonder if there's any food left. And then we will have the top 5 teams. Once I announce the top 5 teams, I need you to come up to the stage. Right away, we'll do a quick little briefing, and we'll have you, actually, what I want you to do, top 5, is grab your models, bring them up to the stage, okay? Either on this side or this side, depending on where you're at. And then we're going to do a quick little briefing, that way the judges can start doing their model scoring, our 4 finalist judges. 3 of them are standing there, and then Frank, he's somewhere else, he's back. So we'll get them started on their judging, we'll do the order. We will try to get the top 5 finalists started at 12:30. That's our goal, to get things going. There'll be 20-minute break or 20-minute sessions, 15 minutes for judging, and then 5 minutes for remove models back and forth if the judges are getting judging done in between each one. So if everything goes to plan, 12:30 to 2:05. So we're kind of, that's how it all works. I'm in it. So we'll get that done. As soon as that's done, We will go ahead and get special awards announced, so make sure everyone's here. You're more than welcome to stay if you're not top five. Your top five in our hearts, but at least this way you can see what some of the other teams are doing, and maybe that'll help in the coming years. So we used to do this separate in a different room, so you didn't get to see them. So we've been doing this for a while, and I think it helps out as we move ahead. So, but you don't have to stay here all the time. You can get out and things like that. But at 2:05 or around 2 o'clock, we need to be back in. We'll start doing special awards. We'll try to get everything done and get you out of here by 3:30, if not before. Maybe that'll get things done a little quicker. We don't. Who was here last year? Not too many. Wow. So we don't have any speakers this year. So that'll probably save about an hour or two. Oh, Bob's going to talk a little bit. But we got a hook for him to pull him off. So I'm going to go ahead and announce top 5 teams, okay? And I'm announcing them in the order that you will then be judged. Okay? So our first one is St. Paul Lacrosse School. So our next one is Mohammed University of Islam. And our next school is Prairie Junior High School. Our next team has 2 teams here too. Lincoln Hall Middle School. Our final team this year is Wooddale Junior High.
You look confused. I am Robert Smolsky, a tour guide here in the beautiful city of Dobra Woda.
Hi, I'm Amy. Nice to meet you. I'm visiting Dobra Woda for the summer. Do you think you can help me?
Of course, but first of all, it's pronounced Dobra Woda. It means good water in Polish. As you know, we are in northern Poland, bordered by the old town of Gdańsk and the Baltic Sea. Our land is mostly flat, and through our city runs the Vistula River. Our population is 1.5 million citizens, and all of them are highly educated thanks to our innovative teaching system that uses holograms as teachers who give examples and hold classes. Thanks to a temperate climate and locally sourced food, our citizens have a life expectancy of over 100.
Okay, I get it. But why is it named for some water? I mean, is there a water system involved?
There is, and I have a friend who can help you better understand our resilient system. Jessica is a water resources engineer at our treatment plant. Hey Jessica, can you meet us at the city model?
Yeah, sure. What's with the glasses?
Well, communication in Dobra Woda is simple yet advanced. We use smart lenses as a way of communication. They can project messages, have calls, and a vision if necessary. If glasses aren't your thing, we have smart holographic watches that do the exact same thing.
Hi there, Robert. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I was wondering if you can help explain some aspects of the city as well as its water.
Of course. First, let me tell you about our city's reliable safety system. Safety in Dobra Woda uses drones for criminal recognition and fire detection. Our city's character is preserved through zoning. Our zones include downtown, residential, agricultural, commercial, industrial, and harbor, which also serves as a multi-residential zone.
Oh wow, Dobra Woda seems amazing. What about that huge building we passed over there? There were so many people.
That was our academy. It teaches people of all age, all subjects, and all skills. It is partially the reason for our diverse community. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Yeah, I'm pretty curious about what I can do for fun. Is it true that people play sports with robots?
Yes, robot sports are very popular to play in our city's arena. Additionally, citizens can attend concerts or ride bikes on the glow-in-the-dark, solar-powered bike paths in our many parks in our city. Finally, they can attend one of our many historical museums.
Wow. My friends back in Chicago mentioned a really fast train.
Yes, that is our Hyperloop. We call it the Szybki, fast in Polish. It runs at 200 miles per hour and is powered by a magnetic field on the train. Citizens also use solar-powered mine cars as a source of personal self-transportation. These are self-driven. Our citizens finally use e-bikes, a source of exercise and transportation. These are provided for free for every citizen.
Wow. I see a lot of farms on your model. Why is that?
Agriculture is our main industry, but shipbuilding is a close second because of innovations such as the use of aerogel, an extremely light yet sturdy material.
In this pamphlet, it says that you guys had an agriculture problem and an algae problem in your water system.
We did, but our engineers at the Academy, specifically hydrological engineers, solved that problem using the engineering and design process.
The engineering design process is define the problem, learn the specifics, brainstorm solutions, test the solution, and design the solution, and finally test the solution. If it works or meets the requirements, then communicate the results. If it doesn't, then redesign and retest until benefits outweigh risks or trade-offs.
Am I safe drinking your water? I mean, how does this water system even work?
You are absolutely safe. Before the algae problem, the solution to purify water included screening, coagulation, sedimentation, pH correction, and chlorination. Now, in 2120, hydrological engineers have redesigned some aspects, but some remain the same. Our water system still starts with coagulation and flocculation, like before, but we also use carbon nanotube filters and far UV beams to clean the water. Far ultraviolet radiation disinfects the water and is a powerful light of wavelength 10 nanometers.
Well, what can carbon nanotube filters do?
Nanotubes can remove particles down to 1 micrometer. They can also remove the bacteria from water.
In this pamphlet, it says that you guys use groundwater for your main water source, but switched to the Vistula River. Why is that?
Because of our growing population and a newly discovered crop, farmers use more fertilizer when growing their crops. Fertilizer is rich with nitrates and phosphates, which are the key ingredients in plant growth. Excess fertilizer can run off into the Vistula River and grow algae, specifically HABs. HABs release harmful toxins called microcystins into the water, which can cause stomach illness or even neurological effects, especially to vulnerable populations such as infants and the elderly. This is why our team of engineers at the Academy immediately stepped in to find a solution.
I heard that this solution didn't take a long time. How did you guys come up with one?
Well, our bioengineers at the Academy genetically designed a virus that is added to the water by our nanobots that float on top of it as soon as it is detected.
Yes, the virus is added to the water to stop the growth of algae as soon as algae is detected in the water. It is called the Zoophytophthora cystins vistator virus, or ZSV for short.
Oh wow, this sounds awesome. But hold on 1 second. If the algae is in the water, but if the algae is filtered out, but the toxins are still in the water, then how are they filtered out?
We use particle beams that use ionizing radiation to destroy the toxins released by HABs. Particle beams are energy efficient and can handle large flow rates, while also destroying harmful pathogens and bacteria in the water.
What's stopping more runoff from contaminating the water?
Now in 2120, we put fertilizer under our 5 inches under the ground. This prevents any fertilizer from running to our water source, the Vistula River.
What if this resilient water system fails?
If the system fails, we can temporarily switch to groundwater or get help from neighboring cities, while our engineers at the Academy try to find a new solution.
Yes, and as we say in Dobra Voda, you never know the value of water until the well runs dry.
Use water to bathe, for example, and drink, and they also use water to, for example, export and import goods. So I'm guessing,
I don't think that an average can be calculated based on the problems that would have to occur for the water usage.
Okay, you've learned about the water system. What's the most futuristic and innovative part of your city's waste?
So our particle beams use ionizing radiation, which is used on very, very small scales today, but has never been done on a very large scale to solve a problem like we have done here. They use ionizing radiation, so basically they're laser beams that are destroying the toxins and cleaning the water completely. So while destroying the toxins, they also filter out pathogens and bacteria that can be harmful to the water. So it's really doing like a 3-in-1 kind of. It takes so many steps for us to do that today, but in our system, it's just one glass particle beam to filter out all these things.
And could you, did you want to add something? Okay. Could you also talk to us about any other resilient components of your city?
Yeah, in our paper, it says that our buildings, all the structures are insulated with aluminum foam. This is a futuristic type of insulation, an extreme conductor, and a very sturdy material. It can last through any natural disaster that has been tested with.
We also have multiple transportation. So for example, we have e-bikes, which are provided for every citizen, but we also have a Hyperloop and mine cars, which is more of a private transportation. So if, for example, for some reason you can't find your e-bike or you don't have it, there's also the option of the Hyperloop or the ship key or the mine cars.
Our academy also shows resiliency because they are constantly working on new solutions and new techniques that we can use in our city.
How did you design your moving parts, and how does it help the city function?
Well, our ship key, which I believe does count as a moving part, is designed with rope. It's pulled by tin can openers. It's nothing special, but our moving part, our Priscilla River, is powered by a 12-volt battery that powers water through tubes that come up this little spout right here. Actually, I can show it. Should come through. There it is. And it'll start flowing. It'll flow down the river into this little fallout area that is representing the Baltic Sea. Come through a little tube right here and enter a Tropicana orange juice can.
And then the water is recycled and will probably start.
So we also have this rotating apartment building over here. So in our city, the rotation was built to mimic Earth's rotation. So the citizens inside don't notice the rotation and are not at all affected by it. But it calms them and just puts them in a better mental state for their day. And it is also solar powered.
The citizens don't realize that the apartment building is rotating, much like how Earth is rotating and none of us realize it. So, yeah. Yes. Sorry. So, for example, this, they're on our industry building. They are made from parts from computers, and we just took them apart and put them on a cardboard box. And this, for example, is used from a game piece, and it serves as our arena.
Our erosion water treatment plant is made from an old fire detector. Our academy is made from a phone box and a jewelry box, I believe. Our mine car station is made from an old icebreakers mint containment.
Some of the aspects of our Stifka concert hall are also made from a remote, and that this black piece right here, that's from a remote piece.
Additionally, our trees are made of painted toothpicks and like green fluff that we bought at the craft store. And our crops are actually pencil shavings. So we're growing pencil shavings in Dobra Boga.
And we also have a top of a glue gun. And like light bulb and a USB port.
part of an old stove that we stacked together with marbles to make it apart.
Are there any hazards for the city being located on the shore of the Baltic Sea?
I'd be happy to answer that. There are a lot of answers for that. It is, first of all, located in Poland. Our team there's a lot of Polish descent in our team, so we decided Poland would be a good spot. Also, the Baltic Sea is notorious for harmful algal blooms. They actually have the highest population of algal blooms in the world, right next to Florida. So we decided that if our topic is going to be harmful algal blooms, then the Baltic Sea coast would be amazing, and we chose Poland because, as I stated earlier, Polish descent.
So, additionally, as we saw earlier in our model, the river can flood. That is a possibility, which is why we use aluminum foam to insulate our houses, which keeps citizens warm and dry during floods or harsh storms. And additionally, we use our smart glasses to alert citizens of any natural disasters that could be possibly coming their way.
What food do your residents eat?
I can answer that.
The food comes from?
So here actually our bioengineers from the academy actually genetically designed a new crop for our citizens. It's called moran. It is similar to quinoa basically, but is packed with starches and proteins. It sort of serves as a replacement for livestock because the livestock releases methane gas and we're trying to be completely green in our city. So this actually keeps our citizens healthy and very energetic throughout the day.
Also, the Vistula River and the Baltic Sea, our second biggest industry is shipbuilding. We use aerogel, extremely light yet sturdy material to build ships. Europeans all over the continent do rely on our exports, so it's fair trade.
IEEE stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. We're the Society for Electrical Engineers and related fields. Our award it's officially called Best Electrical and Electronic Solution for Improving the Quality of City Life. What we look for is essentially the best production and use of electricity. The team that we thought really had the best overall for electricity. And the winner is St. Paul of the Cross with their cities.
So as we announce the winner for each of the special awards, why don't you guys, without wrecking the models that are up here, come across the stage, we'll present your award to you, and then we're going to go in the back by where the photo op is set up, so we're going to get a picture of you for the society. So each special award, the winner will receive 4 acrylic plaques. 3 of the plaques will be for presenting students, and then 1 plaque for the school. And then we're going to receive 3 $25 gift certificates. Now we do have order forms available if anybody would like to order additional acrylic plaques for the remainder of the team. Now it's unfortunate, it's just we only have 3 for the presenting students and 1 for the school. So, but if you would like to have an order form for additional plaques for your winning team, just let me know and I can send that to you. Okay, one more really quick. Special award for the American Society of Civil Engineers Concrete Institute. goes to Montini Catholic School of Fiel Pi. Oh, Construction Institute, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Matt. We have now Muhammad University of Islam, and their team city is Neo City.
Greetings everyone, my name is Fahim and these are my teammates. Saeed and
Issa.
And we are Neo City.
Our city is located in Florida near the Atlantic coast. We are proud to say that our city is 100% eco-friendly. Much of our power is produced by wind power, which is our windmill, and solar power, which we have installed in our buildings and houses. Almost all of our residents would have a nice home to live in. Neo City partners with the tiny house industry, which is an industry that provides tiny houses for people who don't have as much money to pay for a regular house. It is the same as a regular house, it's just smaller, and they have to pay less to live in it. It still gives you all the necessities that they need to live in Neo City. Of course, we have attractions, as in our Neo View, which is rising above the city with an outstanding height of 495 feet tall. They are able to see the full view of the city when they get on this attraction. We make sure that all of our residents get all the food, medicine, any necessities that they need to live in our city and keep their lives as long as possible. Neo means new or the new form, which is a fitting name for our city, and you will see why.
We are proud to say that we are the first blue city after the world water crisis. A blue city is a city that is completely water resilient. When it comes to a city's water supply system, resilience ensures that clean and safe water is provided to all residents for their well-being. It is the year 2120, and the world has faced its challenge 50 years prior. In the year 2070, the world water crisis was at its peak. Half the world's population didn't have access to clean, fresh water. Due to our biggest enemy, saltwater intrusion. Saltwater intrusion is the movement of seawater into freshwater aquifers. It is also caused by either a decrease in groundwater levels or a rising in seawater levels. This will obviously contaminate our freshwater. So our solutions to saltwater intrusion are desalination and distillation, which are ways to purify and reduce the risk of intrusion on waters, the risk of saltwater intrusion hurting our water supply severely. By desalination, we desalinate using reverse osmosis we have described here. And yes, these solutions reverse the effects of saltwater intrusion, which allow our citizens to have clean, fresh water.
Our city provides public transportation to all of its citizens. It runs on salt water and it is self-driving. The smart cars use signals to indicate what the speed limit is and also to know its surroundings. Citizens are able to order it from their phone so the car will take them where they want to go. Like an Uber, but in the future. Salt water is an easy resource for our city since our city is surrounded by.
Power we give to our residents comes from the wind power plant, which is right here, our wind power plant turbine, and solar panels on the roofs of our houses and buildings. The solar panels on top of the houses take in photons or particles of light so they can knock electrons off the atoms. This generates a flow of electricity. We must ensure that our city is getting the power and energy it needs in order to supply enough power to our citizens.
The power that There are 4 different types of zones in our city. We have residential, which is these green tiles. We have commercial, which is the blue tiles. These blue bottles are the office buildings, and these ones too. They're all office buildings. Red is city services. We have a police station, we have a hospital, a fire department, and a school. The yellow represents industrial zones. Our industrial is our water treatment facility. The smart houses that we have, which are all of the houses, they have sensors in them so they can detect if there are any break-ins, if there's a natural disaster, and if there's a fire happening. So it'll alarm you so you can get out and get to safety. The tiny house industry and other houses, our industrial zones include factories, companies, and power plants such as wind power plants, solar power plants, and water treatment plants. Our commercial zones include work buildings, skyscrapers, stores, offices, and hotels. Our last zone is the service. Some of our service includes schools, our police station, the fire, and the hospital.
When you look at our city, you see friendship, peace, happiness, and high technology. Our city is located in the state of Florida and has features like rivers and beaches on the Atlantic coast. Our climate is warm and perfect for outside activities such as hiking, camping, skiing, kayaking, and fishing. Our climate is also great for agriculture. Over here we have a farm, and New York City is known for growing crops like citrus fruits, potatoes, and bell peppers.
Our city shows love and housing as well. Our tall towers and luxurious houses make our city look appealing. New York City provides beautiful, eco-friendly housing for all wealth levels. With clean water and energy, our houses and commercial properties are safe for the environment. Our houses also include solar panels so residents are capable of making and saving energy. In order to avoid and decrease the rate of homelessness, the city has funded the tiny house industry that makes tiny houses around the city. Workers that build these tiny houses are paid on a city budget. We love our residents.
Overall, everybody who lives in New York City loves here, and they will back us up on that. New York City is a beautiful place to live and has a population of 500,000 people. We love our residents.
What is the most futuristic and innovative part of your city?
The most innovative part, I would say, are the high-tech chambers that we have. They're hydro though, so they don't get ruined because they're technology. They're underwater. They take in the salt water. They go through a filtration system that takes out things like sand and algae that might have got caught in it. Then it goes into the water treatment facility and is desalinated and distilled by high pressurized systems and heating. And then it is distributed to the rest of our city.
Just one more question. So what other elements of your city would you say is resilient?
With our water treatment facility, after it is distributed out to all of our residents, we also have our cars also run on salt water, and it's convenient with the sea that because we are located in Florida. With that, we have in a certain place in our water treatment facility that holds salt water. And whenever we need to distribute salt water to our hydro-pumping gas station, we have water fuel tanks and trucks come in, take the water, and distribute it into our hydro-pumping station.
What type of engineers and engineering discipline were utilized in the design of the water supply system?
So we had to use civil engineering, electrical engineering, and just
And we had to use the basic principles of water resiliency. So the civil engineering was used just to build the water treatment plant itself. The electrical engineering was for to power all of the mechanisms that we use. And the water resiliency deals with the methods that we use to clean the water.
How does your city support low income or vulnerable residents?
We have right here the tiny house industry to reduce the rate of homelessness because everyone can afford to live in a house. So and the workers who build these are paid on the city budget.
How is your city protected from hurricanes?
With our city, it's not explicitly shown, but we have a wall on the coast. So when that surrounds our city on all sides. So when a hurricane or a tsunami happens, those have sensors on them and they rise up to block any natural disaster and keeps all of our residents safe. It's a thick wall that is made out of complete titanium.
Why would you like to work in the city?
First, because of the affordable housing, like if I didn't have enough money to stay in smart houses, I could go in the tiny house industry. Second, because it's safe from natural disasters because of the thick titanium wall. And they have attractions like this Neo view, which gives you a 360 view of the city. And I like the convenient way of how the field that the cars run on, so I wouldn't have to worry about pollution in the air.
What moving parts do you have in your city?
Our first moving part, right here we have the wind power plant that we circle with this, and we have our famous attraction, the Neo view. It's like an automatic pulley. Here we have it manually, but in our city it's automatic.
And what types of engineers operate the facility?
We have in our water treatment facility, we have workers that go in,
So we have different engineers that know about the water resiliency and the steps and the process of distilling water. So we have the workers go in and do maintenance on some of the pipes just to make sure that they weren't busted or they're not working properly.
What food do your residents eat and where does the food come from?
We have our farmland over here, which, as we said, it gives off, we have citrus fruit, we have vegetables as in tomatoes, bell peppers, fruits, vegetables. And when you come into here, it's a public place, so you can come in, you can get something, you can pay for it. And when you come in, we personally want you to come in, provide something as in seeds or anything else, and then take something, pay for it, and you take it to your house and eat.
Did you find any downsides of the desalination process?
No, not really, because with our water treatment facility, we made sure that all of our houses were away from it, because we learned from the virtual city design that people don't like to live near a water treatment facility or any industry.
One more question. What kind of jobs do your commercial and industrial areas provide?
We have different stores that the commercial people can work in. Some workers work in the farmland area.
and they're in the school. Teachers can work here in the and in the office buildings. Different people can work there to produce like newspapers and magazines and things like that. And also the smart houses, the hospital, doctors and surgeons work there. The police work at the police station. Firefighters work at the fire station, and of course the teachers are at the school.
Where does your wastewater go from the houses?
It's not shown in our model, but we have one away from the water. A wastewater treatment plant.
Do I know you? What is this place?
Welcome. Welcome to the room, Arthur. Call me Claire. Clairvoyant.
How do you know my name? Are you a fortune teller?
I prefer professional future forecaster. Why so distressed, Mr. Curry?
Well, I'm a researcher and a resident in San Francisco, and all my research on coastal cities, resiliency, sustainability, and climate change indicates we need a new approach for a better urban future.
Go on.
Shoreline erosion, saltwater intrusion, and climate change are leading to the contamination of fresh water sources.
Looks like you could use some insight from a reliable source.
Who? You?
No, you. And my crystal ball, of course. Sit and close your eyes. Concentrate and ground yourself. Now, thoughtfully ask 3 yes or no questions about your pressing concerns.
I do have an innovative vision for the future that takes advantage of ocean waters, but it's hugely ambitious. Is it worth the initiative and risk?
Yes, definitely.
Can I do this alone?
Don't count on it.
Okay, so I should seek assistance from a variety of experts?
It is certain.
Thank you so much, Claire, for the inspiration. Take care. Goodbye.
Good luck. Outlook, good.
Welcome. Today, in 2120, we are assembled at the UN headquarters to recap and celebrate 100 years of New Sidnalta's success. Please welcome New Sidnalta's Mayor Arthur Curry IV.
Thank you. Back in 2020, San Francisco's immediate concern was saltwater intrusion from ocean water migrating landward and filling voids in the aquifers caused by the city's overpumping. Many wells were close to this landward migration zone, causing water to move up the wells and degrading the purity of the naturally filtered water.
Invasion of seawater into fresh groundwater supplies was leading to tainted water. People, especially young children and the elderly, were getting sick, dehydrated, and even some died. This negatively impacted tourism and the economy.
My great-grandfather, Arthur Curry I, had an innovative solution about a new kind of Atlantis. His idea came to fruition after involving engineers, seafloor mappers, investors, water treatment specialists, and marine biologists from all over the world. Welcome to Neo Sinalta. Neo meaning new, and Sinalta is Atlantis spelled backwards, the first successful expansion city of its kind. Please welcome Neo Sinalta's chief engineer, Crystal Waters.
Hello, everyone. Neo St. Malta floats on the Pacific Ocean and is stationed about a half-mile off the coast of its host city, San Francisco. Production of this man-made floating island began in 2020, which makes it 100 years old. Mild, year-round climate keeps the city's 10,000 residents happy, healthy, and entertained. Our population is very diverse. We welcome people from a variety of religions, ethnicities, ages, and careers.
These pontoon hexagonal structures are filled with air to provide buoyancy to the platforms. They are also bolstered by biorock and moored to the seafloor. 7 platforms form a pod, and 3 pods form a village. Villages then form Neo Sinalta.
Development includes 1 industrial platform represented by yellow, 1 residential platform represented by green, and 4 mixed-use platforms represented by green and blue.
Other platforms of varying design have dedicated uses like growing food, collecting energy, and producing potable water.
Neo Sinalta's main water treatment system uses reverse osmosis desalination technology. It collects seawater from the ocean using intake pumps located at different locations. The seawater goes through a pre-treatment process to ensure that the feed water is compatible with the membrane. High-pressure pumps enough to overcome osmotic pressure force the seawater to flow across the semi-permeable membranes. The membranes filter out the dissolved salts, particles, and bacteria from the water. The dissolved salts form a concentrate of brine. Brine is treated and repurposed instead of releasing it back into the ocean.
Energy recovery devices transfers energy back into the plant. Once the fresh water and salt water are separated, the fresh water is stabilized, testing the pH and adding disinfectant to make sure it is fit for consumption.
Water is stored below the platform and sent to water storage tanks through flexible piping, which is then distributed to the city.
Desal is not our only water source. We also extract water from the air using atmospheric water generators. News and Alta offers a variety of services to our citizens, including public transportation featuring our underwater aquatrain. Other types of transportation include autonomous underwater vehicles powered by hydrogen fuel cells, electric-powered pods, and let's not forget about biking and walking.
Social, cultural, and recreational functions are placed in the center platform to encourage citizens to gather and move around the village. We are also a zero-waste city. We use products that are manufactured that are biodegradable or manufactured with the intent to reuse, disassemble, or upcycle.
Sources of revenue include tourism, fishing, advanced technology, and renewable energy supplies such as solar, wind, and wave-powered buoys.
Buildings are sustainable and made from bioceramic and durable plastic materials pulled from the Pacific garbage patch. Also, these low center of gravity structures are fireproof and weatherproof.
Many risks and consequences were considered before building a city with services and water systems on the ocean. For example, bad weather, water system pressure failure, component corrosion, and leaks, all which can cause injury, sickness, and ecosystem pollution.
To combat this, our water systems are carefully monitored and maintained to minimize risks. We identify, analyze, and resolve failures through autonomous abilities as well as human and robotic specialists.
Additionally, our city's disaster and security preparedness include unmanned drones, an early weather warning system, underwater bunkers, and practice drills.
Neosin also provides homes, education, resources, skill training, and jobs to its residents, as well as shares research, advanced technology, resources, and innovative solutions with the world.
Water is the source of life. It should be treated with dignity and respect.
We must work together to create a sustainable, lasting change in our relationship with water.
By choosing to live with water rather than hopelessly fighting against it.
Thank you for your time.
Diverse population. Why do you think it's important for a city to have a diverse population?
I think it's important to have a diverse population so people can experience new things like different foods, clothing, which is why we have our cultural center. In that they can sell their foods and clothes, as well as people can get to work with different types of people and ideas.
Also, varieties like the spice of life. If you don't have it, then it's kind of boring, and I feel like you've been doing the same thing every day.
So you learned about the parts of water system like collection, storage, treatment, and what would you say is the most futuristic and innovative part of your city's water system?
Well, we have, along with desalination that some cities use today, we have our atmospheric water generator. It extracts water from the air and treats it, and it is then distributed through our city. So it can be used for gray water, for crops, or drinking water. And along with our water system, our sidewalks are made out of bamboo, so it can absorb the water and transfer it to our storage tanks, or treatment and then storage tanks. So it absorbs the water, rainwater, anything from fire hydrants that were not used or is spilled or anything. And it is then used to irrigate crops, used in fire hydrants. It's just keep reusing.
Besides the water system, what other examples of how your future city is resilient?
Some examples of how our city is resilient is that it's anchored to the seafloor, which means that it can also be undetached. And say there's like an emergency, like a hurricane or a tsunami, we can transport our city through tugboats away from danger, and then once the storm or the tsunami is passed, we can then go back to a half mile off the coast of San Francisco.
Also, our buildings, they are weatherproof and fireproof, so they are resilient from fires and weather problems.
And adding on to what Zach said, if say there's a tsunami, it could go into the city and be closer to the city, so they could evacuate and get to a safe location. Along with there's underwater bunkers in our city underneath the platforms, so in case of an emergency, they could go under there and stay safe.
In the future, how much water does a resident use every month?
About 80 to 100 gallons.
So how are your city services?
So in our inner pod, we have our cultural center, and around that we have our government building, our hospital, our fire department, and our police station. We have them in the inner pod because that way it is closest to all of the outer pods, so they can get to everything easier.
So there's always a bigger pod whenever they connect together.
Yes.
Larger pod.
And adding on to that, so there's a cultural center in each service center in each pod. There's 3 pods from a village. So we have a police station, fire station, a hospital, government building, and trading depots along with our cultural center in each pod.
How do you generate power in your city?
So,
And why did you choose that method?
We chose solar, wind, and wave power buoys. We chose this because, like we said, we're a zero waste, and we want our carbon footprint to be as low as possible. You know, it can't be zero, but we want to keep it low. We use these because they don't create any greenhouse gases or don't produce any smoke into the air. This is why we chose this electricity. Also, the wave power buoys, even if there's a high storm, we can still collect energy from it.
And adding on to that, if one failed, say the wind power failed, we still have 2 other sources of energy and vice versa. We also are partnership with San Francisco, so we can get energy from them if we have a power outage, if anything is not working, and if they have a power outage, they can borrow energy and use energy from us.
Where does your wastewater go?
So our wastewater, we send it back to our treatment plant, and we get rid of like anything that we can't really use, and then we use that for biofuel. And then our wastewater, the rest of the water, then we send it to our fire hydrants and stuff like that.
Part of your presentation, you mentioned something about atmospheric water collection. What exactly is that?
So it extracts water from the air, because condensation is constantly in the air, there's constantly water particles around us. It extracts the water from the air, it filters it out, and it is used for gray water or drinking water.
How does that connect into your regular city water system?
It connects directly into our water system, and if there is anything contaminated in it, we send it to our desalination plant.
I can ask one more. You mentioned tourism as one of the drivers of your economy. What is there to see here?
So basically, we have our aquatram, which people can usually just come from San Francisco to our city because the sunset is usually a beautiful time, and you can always see a beautiful sunset across the ocean horizon. And the aquatram, you can just come down, since it's underwater, you can see like the ocean creatures and everything like that.
Also, tourists usually are attracted to this type of area because of the type of technology. Not every day you're going to see a city that's expandable in hexagons.
And adding on to that, we have our automatic underwater vehicles that are autonomous underwater vehicles. And instead of just transporting citizens, you could sort of like take a tour or something underwater to see fish, to see different wildlife underwater.
Could you explain some of your moving parts, please?
So first of all, we have the aquatram. It shoots down to that magnetic cannon, we call it, and then we'll shoot the green marble through and then back out. Also, we have our wind power plants. These are also used to generate electricity in our city.
And adding on to that, this actually took a while because at first it wasn't getting enough force to keep going. And we couldn't find a way to make the wind turbines slower, so we had to add resistors onto it. And with our Aquatram, we had to try to get it under our platforms, try to make it look like it's underwater, and have the magnetic cannon actually working.
Could you explain some of the materials you used and why you used them?
For the Aquatram, we used this plastic tubing because it was flexible and we needed to bend it some way that it would easily bend. And basically for the windmills, we just found some spare batteries and everything that would work for it, and it made it spin.
And adding on to that, for our basic structures, we actually used foam and plastered it so it would, and then painted it, because we had to use plaster to be able to paint it and make it look nice and have good greenery, so this would look healthy.
Go a little quicker, so please be prepared. So the Construction Specification Institute Chicago chapter presents a special award for the best use of construction materials, and this goes to Wooddale Junior High, Mizuno. And while they continue to come across, the next special award from the American Public Works Association, Chicago Metropolitan Section, for the most innovative design for delivery of municipal services goes to Queen of All Saints, Ciudad de Oro. The next special award is from the American Society of Mechanical Engineers for Best Energy and Environment Design. And the winner of this special award is from Muhammad University of Islam, NEOC. And the last special award for this break from the Illinois section of ASCE, the Structural Engineering Institute. The special award is titled Victors in the Battle Against Gravity. This goes to from Conrad A. Junior High School, Riverside.
This is one of the ones in the toilets. I know, because they won't. Oh, I didn't know that. No, it's back here from him. It's back here. Right there.
Before we begin, I have a few questions to ask you. First of all, why are you so interested in safety all of a sudden?
Well, I recently acquired a large plot of land, and I want to build a city on it. So I figured, why not go to the experts? Safety tech.
Well, you've come to the right company. Now for one more question. Have you ever heard of the city Hutan Air?
Sure I have. It's a city beyond its years, full of technological advancements, and it's eco-friendly.
Ah, so you have heard of it. Now, can you tell me who made Hutan Air?
Safety tech.
Ah, good. Now, with those questions out of the way, we can begin the tour. Ah, Miss Employee.
Mr. CEO, is there a tour going on right now?
Yep.
Actually, Miss Employee, could you please take over the tour with me? I have a meeting to attend to right now, and I'm actually running late.
Of course, I can show him around the facility. Come, follow me. Welcome to Bhutan Air. This is one of the most technologically advanced cities of our time. As you can see, this city is divided into sections, or zones, as we like to call them, including the educational, recreational, residential, power and infrastructure in the back, industrial, and commercial. Now, to connect each of these zones, we have two main sources of transportation, which are both eco-friendly as well. The Hyperloop, which is a high-speed underground train, and driverless electric cars.
Oh my god, did you say Hyperloop? Those things are so cool. They're like fast, like sleek, they carry a lot of people. And like driverless cars probably save thousands on thousands of lives every day.
Precisely. Now, in terms of electricity, we have also two power sources. Solar panels, which you can see we have a solar farm located in the power and infrastructure zone, as well as vertical solar panels on our buildings. And wave generators we have located in the ocean, which generates wave power.
Wow, so that's like unlimited power every day.
Yep, because whenever natural disaster strikes, which our city is known for its tsunamis, then we have backup power. We have a backup power source underneath, located right here, with our lithium-ion batteries.
Speaking of tsunami, how do your buildings withstand all that pressure?
Well, our buildings are made of a material that inhabits the qualities of concrete, but it's also really durable, and it can withstand a lot of water pressure. And we also have a layer of graphene under our city, as well as graphene pillars, which hold up the city and ensure it does not collapse.
What's this graphene?
Well, it's the strongest material known to man.
Didn't know that.
Well, Mr. Hamilton, there are a lot of things you do not know. Now, with that being said, you do not know of our two very innovative green elements of our city, including our rooftop gardens and underground gardens. The reasons we have them underground is because in case of natural disaster, they are protected, and because it opens up a lot of space on the top for building plans and other areas of development.
But don't plants need sunlight?
Now that is why we have artificial sunlight that is used with LEDs that are solar simulators.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Would you look at that? My time is up for this tour, and I will now hand you off to the lead engineer of our water supply.
And I presume you're Richie Hamilton.
Sure am.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'd like to show you the glory of our system, the water supply. Just come over here. So how our water supply works is first collected in these intake cribs. When the water goes down here, it goes through it goes through pipes to chemical treatment, which is where we treat it with iodine to make it more drinkable and get rid of some of the larger items. Then the water sits in plastic heating enzymes for up to 12 hours at a time, just to get rid of all of the bacteria and plastic and bad goods. Then it goes through a process of reverse osmosis, which is where desalination starts. And that's where we get all the salt out of the water, so it's better to be drinkable. And then finally, the water travels through our graphene pipes. Each have graphene filters within them that can clean the water even further and make it clean, safe, and able to drink.
Wait, did you say enzymes? Those look so small and cute. Can't pet one.
If you try to pet one, you most likely kill it. They're smaller than the size of your finger.
Oh, fine. But what happens if the system fails?
Well, if the system fails, we always have our heat and motion sensors in our graphene pipes. If anything goes wrong at all, the graphene pipes will send a signal to to the Croutons Air's top engineers that can solve the problem just like that.
Wow, it seems like every time there's a problem in this city, there's always a solution to fix it.
That's correct.
The theme of the essay topic, clean water, tap into tomorrow, influence your city design and development.
So our city is located in Malaysia, which 100 years ago was known for being a plastic dump. And so over the years, the plastic has actually degraded into tiny molecules which can be filtered out. And so we had to, at Crouton Air, we had to come up with a solution to this. And so we breeded enzymes into being able to eat the plastic. That has plays a major part in our water supply system. And so so basically we had to change a lot about the way we filter our water in our city, and we had to design a completely new area for that.
So you've learned all aspects of water treatment. What would you say is the most futuristic and innovative part of that system?
Definitely our enzymes, because without them, I don't think there's anything like them that can eat plastic and completely take it out from a water system.
Besides the water system, what other examples of how your future city is resilient?
So our city has like a layer of grafting under it, which like prevents earthquakes from like completely collapsing the city inwards on its underground layer. The buildings are also made of grafting, so that also helps it stay resilient to tsunamis and other natural disasters along the lines of that.
Is everything made out of graphene?
Actually, no. We do only our pillars and the underground layer, as well as some of our most important buildings are made out of graphene, and basically everything else is made out of material that resembles concrete, but is actually can withstand water pressure.
Could you discuss some of the materials you used for your project?
So all of those white buildings that you see in the main two areas, so all the white buildings that you see, those are all 3D printed. And then the 3 blue buildings in the back are all cut out of the same material as the board, which is like a type of styrofoam. And we also used fig trees and moss for all the vegetation and the underground gardens. And then we have one gray building next to the 5 white buildings, which is made out of like a cardboard box. And we also have two water bottles, which is in this power station.
Did your team have any disagreements along the way?
Yes, a lot actually. There were times when we couldn't decide things like what to put where, what zones we wanted to include where, and what materials we should make our buildings out of. There were also a lot of disagreements when it came to basically how we wanted to lay the board out and the different, like how to paint it, when to paint it, and things like that.
And how did you solve the problem?
It usually came down to taking a vote, like what you want to do and things like that. So everyone would always like speak their ideas, and then we would talk about it, and then we would take the final vote at the end and be like, okay, who wants to do what? And so the majority want them.
Beyond making water safe to drink, does your city use any treatment processes that improve taste or make the water better for preventing cavities in your teeth?
There's not like a direct way that we make the water taste better, but I mean, after desalinating it, we get rid of salt, so I guess it is a natural water flavor, if that's what you're asking. And the chemical treatments don't like make the water taste like different than it should.
What different types of engineering disciplines were involved in the water supply or some other process that you studied?
We had civil engineers, hydraulic engineering, environmental engineering, as well as electric engineers.
Could you talk about the different types of food, either that you grow or consume on site, as well as jobs that are created?
So the main type of food that everyone eats comes from the underground garden here. Mainly consists of like fruits and vegetables and some grains and oats. These jobs, I guess, are created because like you then have farmers help like plant the food and like pick it, and it also helps contribute to the economy because then people can sell that food. It creates all those jobs.
Also, to add to that, like we have we grow like specific foods like wheat and corn, tomatoes, like stuff for salads and everyday use. And also because of the ocean that's nearby, we have a team of we can send out teams of fishermen.
Do you did you find any downsides to the desalination process?
So the desalination process leaves like a lot of excess salt, but what we do is if we have like a ton of extra salt, then we'll export it to other countries and cities if they need it or if they want it.
How do you fund city operation?
So Houghton Air is a new city, and so it was basically started as a design that we gave to the government, and the government approved that design and helped fund the city to create it because it's the first city that uses so many like innovation and stuff in Malaysia. It's mostly government funded.
Also, a little bit more on that, going off of what Gabe said, the exporting, we have so much money on that, so that's another way to fund some of our projects.
What are those filter blocks underneath? Yeah.
Those are water reservoirs where we keep our extra water, so in case there is natural disasters such as tsunamis or earthquakes and we need to shut off our water system, the backup reservoirs are where the city gets its water during those times, as well as the electricity banks, the batteries, is where we get our power.
Where's your moving part?
This moving part symbolizes the first step of our water system, which is to collect seawater and take it in intake basins, which leads to the underground water treatment.
What service does your city provide to its residents?
Well, we provide residents with a full zone just dedicated for recreational activities. So if they want to hang out or go to the park, they can do that in this area. They can also shop in the commercial area, which is another thing.
And the commercial area consists of the mall. Also, we have an art museum in there for pleasure and just having fun with friends.
The Illinois section of ASU Transportation and Development Institute, the Forward Thinking Transportation System Award goes to Queen of All Saints, Orange Creek. From the Institute of Transportation Engineers, Illinois section, the Excellence in Transportation Safety and Operations Award. This goes to Lincoln Hall Middle School, Bhutan Air. Our next award is from the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Science. The best land surveying practices goes to Alexander Graham Bell, Lamore Delac. And our last award for this break from the American Society of Civil Engineers, Illinois section, Best Design for Sustainable City, goes to Conrad Junior High Dream Ocean.
Right now is Wooddale Junior High, and their team name is Musuko.
That exhibit was so cool. Let's do it again. Wait, where did Miss Jackson go? Oh no, they left us. What should we do? I don't know. Let's go this way? Okay. Look at this. I don't want to either. You take it. I'll take it. Can I help you? Yeah. We lost our class and we were in an awesome exhibit. Is this a model of our city Masuto? Yes. This is actually an interactive model. It's going from Masuto's water system. It hits our reliable supply of drinking water. How does Masuto's water stay clean and safe? For clean water, we use a graphene and nanotube mesh to filter salt water. We have storage tanks under our city that helps deliver this clean water to our home. Cool, but what does that mean? Graphene is carbon filled inside of the matter. It's really strong. We put very tiny holes in it. It'll let the water fill up by itself. The storage tanks we have under our city are cisterns. They help store this clean filtered water, and other systems are for flood control. As you can see, the flood water fills up the cistern and pumps it out to the ocean. This is a crucial part of our flood system. So, I know we have mountains, but how do they help with the water stuff? They make mountain runoff water to rivers, which is where we get our drinking water from. My mom is a hydraulic engineer. She works with water all day and says it's really cool how you store your water. But where does the extra water go? A city can't drink their entire water supply in a day. I'm so happy you asked. Masuto stores clean filtered water located beneath our city in our cisterns. To keep this water clean, once a week, the water travels from one cistern to the other cisterns through pipes that also have the graphene and nanotube mesh. Did you come up with the system using the engineering design process? Because we've been learning about it in school. Aren't the steps 1, identify the need, which would be citizens need clean water. 2, define the problem. Wouldn't that be bad, a natural disaster, like a typhoon could come and contaminate the water? 3, brainstorm ideas, coming up with different solutions. 4, conduct research, talking to other engineers, cities, and experts to figure out what's best. 5, develop design, coming up with a solution. 6, test design. We have this computer program at school called Sims, and we use it to test what would happen if a natural disaster hit. 7, revise design, fixing any problems you have, and testing revised versions. Yes, you're right. Your teachers have taught you well. But how long does the water last in the system? The cistern holds about 150 million liters of water. So that would be enough water for over a month of the season. Unfortunately, we do have some trade-offs. In order to have free education and healthcare, the government does tax citizens around 30%. Is there anything you do to keep citizens
and safe?
We manufacture drones and do many things for us.
We have safety drones, weather drones, and tree planter drones. But won't the tree planting drones take away jobs from civilians and gardeners?
No, the drones won't take away jobs from people because once our citizens are educated, they can get jobs in the engineering field and help improve our technology. That's really smart. You keep a stable economy while improving education. But can't the rivers cause floods? We do know the rivers will flood, but the powers of the mountain runoff water outweigh the negatives. We have saltwater marshes over there that help absorb some of the floodwater, and other floodwater goes into our cisterns, which then gets pumped out to the ocean through water pipes. We also have permeable pavement on the ground that helps absorb any other runoff. How does the water flow through the pipe? Let me show you. Why don't you pull the yarn behind the back of the board? The water collects into the pipes and flows to the ocean. This is our drainage system. In 2019, the biggest pump can move 60 cubic meters of water a second. And for waste management, our citizens use compostable toilets. Ooh, what are these short buildings and these tall buildings? These are buildings from the old Japanese culture. Mixing old culture with new culture. Cool. We made sure that Misuja wasn't super modernized. Having these buildings helps keep the old Japanese culture. Oh, by the way, for transportation, we use water from bicycle purifiers, hybrid airships, and maglev trains. Maglev trains made groundbreaking records in 2015, reaching speeds of 605 kilometers an hour. Can you imagine how fast they go now? How do the bikes work? The bikes are equipped with a filter. We pour contaminated water into this filter, and while you bike, the filter cleans the water, producing 3.8 liters of clean water a minute.
Right, everyone has their bikes and uses them to get to nearby locations, and maglev trains and hybrid airships to further areas.
Yep, we use the hybrid airships to more affordably deliver people and cargo around the world. They burn less than a tenth of the fuel of a helicopter per ton. What about the pavement on the road? That's permeable pavement. It absorbs runoff water and transports it to our drainage system. What are these? Those are mega towers. What's in them? In every mega tower, we have 120 housing levels, 3 mall floors, and 2 preschool and daycare centers. The mega towers sound so cool. I heard the 10D movie theater is amazing. Do you want to go see that new Disney movie with me?
Oh my gosh, yes. The trailer for Frozen 16 looks amazing. But speaking of movies, do you have any places people can go for fun?
Yep, we have many recreational activities for our citizens to enjoy. We have many beautiful parks and playgrounds, indoor and outdoor pools, amusement parks, we'd like you to mention, of course, theaters, as well as our many outdoor recreational activities. We also have green roofs on all of our buildings.
What are green roofs? I heard that it's a roof that holds plants, but has many advantages to the traditional roof. The main being that it absorbs and reduces runoff, which goes to our permeable pavement and then to our cisterns.
Yep. Wait, what if the water system gets contaminated and the graphene nanotube can't filter the water? Well, we do have a drinkable book. It was a book created by the company, Water is Life, and a chemical engineer from Carnegie Mellon, Dr. Teresa Dankovich.
Oh, my family has one of these at home.
Simply put, the drinkable book is a book with water filtration pages that filters contaminated water. Coated in silver nanoparticles, pennies to make, kills 99.9% of bacteria such as typhoid, E. coli, and cholera. Every family is provided with a drinkable book in case the water system shut down. The book can last for 4 years. I hear Miss Jackson.
Yeah, I think I hear her too. Thanks for answering our questions. I hope you get to come back soon.
No problem. I'm glad to see kids interested in our city.
Could you explain the significance of the name of the city?
Well, Misuja means mist in Japanese, and since we are located near the ocean, we decided that it would be an appropriate name.
This is also near Japan, Nagasaki, which is why we chose the name.
We wanted to bring a little bit of the Japanese culture into our city, which is why we decided to name it in Misuyo, which is Japanese for mist.
And so you've learned a lot of components of the water system. Could you talk a little bit about what would be the most futuristic and innovative part of your system in your city?
Well, we definitely think that one of our many futuristic parts is our drones, because that's definitely something that we don't really see a lot currently, but we are hoping that we see more of in the future.
Also, the graphene and nanotube mesh that we use to desalinate ocean water is also a very futuristic thing that we think would potentially be there in the very near future.
Also, all of our citizens are chipped, so if you're missing any
vitamin A or B, it will tell you. And it's also used as a tracking beacon if there is an emergency, like a big storm coming, to locate our citizens.
Besides the water system, what other advantages of how your future city is resilient?
Well, one thing that our city is resilient is we do have many different energy sources. We do have solar power and wind power, and you don't see on our model, but we do have turbines a little bit farther offshore for turbine power.
We also have turbines in between the tubes that also create hydraulic power, and they do create little power, but they are helpful.
We store all of our extra energy into carbon batteries in case the power would go out.
How is your city protected from tsunamis and typhoons?
We have breaker walls that are 60 meters high that protect the city from any high waves and potential flooding.
We also have movable pavement on the ground, which helps absorb any of the rains that would come from a typhoon.
Our city is also raised above the sea level about 60 meters, which would help definitely against some waves.
Could you go through the layout of your city?
So here is the yellow sea, which is what you see in the front. And then at the back here, we have a saltwater marsh, which you can kind of see a little bit in the background too.
This is our residential commercial zone. We have in all of our mega towers we have shopping malls and residential areas and schools.
We have the flood water discharge pipes and the cisterns.
We also have the mountain recreational activity with the Japanese pavilions.
We have posters in the back.
And your city services?
We have security drones, and we have security drones that keep the crime rate low, and the safety drones that if there was a fire to start, it would easily take care of that. And because our mega towers are so high up, they can reach very easily.
Obviously, our recreation area that's now over there, we do have parks and amusement parks like we said in the presentation.
What's your building part?
We actually have many on here. The main attraction being the water pipe with the water pump being pumped out, as well as our cistern, which fills up with flood water. We also have the part that breaks off at the front.
We have the posters in the back and the drinkable and the many colors.
Talk a little bit about the materials that you used in the present.
Well, for majority of our mega towers, we use Pringles cans wrapped in paper and repainted them.
For the floodwater discharge pipe, we used yarn and just tubing. It took us forever though to figure out how we were going to thread the yarn all the way through until one of our teammates came up with the idea of just sucking it through with a vacuum, and that worked pretty well. So
we have foam that is mostly here. It's made up of mostly our city right here.
And we also used old furnace filters and toothpicks for our trees.
We use sawdust for the saltwater marshes and the green roofs on all our buildings.
And we also use miscellaneous computer and technical parts that we found.
How was garbage handled by the city?
We take the garbage and created it into a biodegradable composter. And we strive for all of our products being recycled as well.
we definitely try to reuse all of our products. So like at the stores where they'll see like, oh, made from recycled products, we definitely try to do a lot of that, which eliminates a lot of waste.
We also reuse like a lot of our materials, especially clothing, which can be, and we have many secondhand stores in malls and stuff.
What types of food do your residents eat and where does it come from?
We have plant-based diets that are from the vertical farms. Me
did try to definitely become a plant-based society because cows do release a lot of methane. So by doing this, we would be helping also with global warming.
How do you generate power in your city, and why did you choose that method?
We have the tidal energy. With the wind turbines, you can't see them. With the turbines, you can't see them in the model because they are more further up, but we place them as a big source of energy.
We also use solar power and wind energy to generate wind power. And then, like we had said earlier, in between all these pipes, we have turbines, which do generate a small amount of electricity, which we can then put into carbon batteries.
What types of engineering disciplines are involved in your city?
Well, in our drone factory, we have many mechanical engineers and electrical engineers working on our drones that we do export. We obviously need also a lot of structural engineers to make sure that our buildings are safe for people to go into and live in.
We have hydraulic engineers working near our cisterns and different engineers and professors in our schools.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next school is Conrad Junior High. Forest Park Middle School. Forest Park, you guys still here? Glen Westlake Middle School. Immaculate Conception. Lincoln Hall Middle School. Montini Catholic. Muhammad University of Islam. Prairie Junior High School.
Sorry.
We're just going to take a break for a couple minutes while the picture focus.
The award for Best Community Involvement is awarded to City of Wildcats of Glen Westlake Middle School.
You know why we're here today? Back in 1951, the National Society of Professional Engineers wanted to celebrate the engineering profession. So they created something called Engineers Week. Does anybody in the audience, not the engineers, because they better know this, but when is Engineers Week? Come on, you gotta know when Engineers Week is. We got all kinds of weeks in the city. Back there, when's Engineers Week? Who was the nation's first engineer? Who? George Washington. Military engineer and surveyor. So the National Society of Professional Engineers created National Engineers Week around his official birthday, not President's Day. So this coming February, we will be celebrating National Engineers Week, February 16th through the 22nd. Through that week, there will be a lot of programs. Like I said, it started in 51. It didn't get much recognition, sadly. I didn't even know it when I was in college. I didn't know it when I started my engineering career in the 70s. I'm dating myself. In 1992, the electronics engineers, and we saw IEEE, wanted to reach out to you students, and they created something called the Future City Competition to reach out to students to let them know what engineers do. In 1993 was the very first competition. There were only 5 regional competitions. Chicago was one of them. In 1993, for whatever reason, I didn't attend. But in 1994, I attended. And I've attended 27 straight competitions. This one was kind of unique because I think there was a disproportionate number of women or young girls in this competition. Who says girls don't do STEM? I've seen it again in my career. When I started, there was hardly any female engineers, but we're seeing more and more female engineers. So maybe one of you will become an engineer. And I'll tell you another interesting story. 1995, 3 girls won the competition here in Chicago. I can't remember if they won the national, but I know they did real well. 15 years later, I see one of the girls, now an adult. Where was she? At one of these tables. She was the finalist judge because she became an engineer. I can guarantee one of you or more of you are going to become engineers. And as I said, maybe you heard me rant and rave last year, but I doubt many of you will make it being an athlete, a football star, basketball star, baseball star, you name it. But some of you are going to be successful engineers, mathematicians, computer engineers, you name it, scientists. So I honor your children for coming here and participating in this competition, because you children are our future. When somebody talked about climate change, you are going to be solving that problem. Okay, now we're going to go on to the award. Okay, first award, Most Innovative Structures, from the Structural Engineers Association of Illinois. I happen to be a member of that association for 45 years. We're the engineers that design your buildings. Just look it up there. When I look at this building, I want to see how it stands. Can I see these joists here go through that beam there? There's a column back there. That's what we do. We make the building stand up. You name the building, it's got an engineer that designed it to stand up. The architect gets the credit, but it's standing because of the engineer. Chicago is renowned for its structural engineering, and I'll talk more about it in a minute. But I want to honor your students. Let's see, we got to find out which team won it. Westmont Junior High gets first. I was a member of that premier association. It's only about 85 members. It's literally the creme de la creme of engineers, architects, developers, contractors, material suppliers, you name it, anything to do with high-rise building design. The Chicago Committee on High-Rise Buildings does that. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary. When you're downtown, take a look at some of our high-rises. That was designed by those members of that association. And we've got a couple of new ones, especially one particular new one, almost complete. Take a look at it, or if you ever get the chance, on Wacker Drive, East Wacker Drive. It's the Vista Tower. It's the first of its kind in Chicago, though New York has got several of them. Because the building sways too much, in a windstorm, the engineers convinced the architect the only way to get that building to stand is on the 86th and 87th floor. There are no windows. There's no tenants. There's just a gigantic screen around the building. And it's to let the wind blow through the building so the building doesn't go like that. So when you're downtown, you might want to see that on the lakefront. It's the third tallest building in the city. As I wrap up with regards to Engineers Week, February 16th through the 22nd, there are several key events. The biggest one is the IIT STEM Expo in Wheaton. That one draws 2,000 people. I will be there as a presenter, showing how buildings stand up and how bridges fall down. The engineer for the world's tallest building will be presenting, and a lot of other key engineers will be there. You don't want to travel out the weekend, you can stay here in Chicago, because the Chicago Architectural Foundation does the same thing at their headquarters at 111 East Wacker. If you don't want to come downtown, most likely, I haven't got the information yet, but at University of Chicago, generally, the black engineers host a program targeting minority students. For the young girls, if you want to travel up to Evanston on February 22nd, you have to register for this one. But they have Girls' Day for a limited number of girls by the Society of Women Engineers. So that's just some of the events. There's even more. Again, he's going to kick me off the stage. But I just want you to be aware there's a lot of that. There, I got that one. So I want to welcome you all, and I'm kind of excited to see who's got the big one that's going to DC. And we'll see the top 3 winners at the big Engineers Week banquet on February 28th. It's something, who's been there at the Engineers Week banquet? Okay, we're having another one, the 28th, and a renowned, world-famous engineer will be on. Thank you. I got the award. Okay, who's the award go to? Which one? Saint Athanasius.
From the 2 bats up here, Matt Miller and Matt Kirby, I want to thank them for what they've been doing, special awards and getting things out, along with Tom Borges, who had to leave just a few minutes ago. So thank you guys. I also, in the back areas, doing all the scoring and judging and all that kind of stuff, we had Rich Ohio was there. He had to leave, but he's been helping us out for 15 years before. Danny Cirkovich was standing over there. There he is. He's waving his hand. So thank you, Danny, for your help. And with Deborah Hodges. Deborah, are you in here? There she is. She's waving her hand. She helps us with all sorts of things. You already heard from Bob. Bob's been doing it longer than anyone I could imagine. So, I've only been doing it for about 22 years, so I haven't hit Bob's level yet. So, okay. I want to give some thanks out to people in the audience. So I want to recognize all the teachers and engineer mentors. You guys do the heavy lifting. I appreciate everything you guys do, so thank you. Next, I want to recognize all the students. We've had a lot of students here today. So students, thank you all. Hope you had a good time doing this competition. How many out here are returning? How many were here like a year or 2 years ago? Raise your hands real quick, just to get an idea. So there's a lot of new people here, so that's good. Okay, and then the last thanks, I want to thank all the parents. So parents, can you please stand up? All the parents. Thanks for everything you do too. I started this originally as a mentor for a team that was just by my house. Then I got kind of sucked in. And I've been doing this ever since. Like I said, I think I'm in my 22nd year of doing this, but it's fun. We were back at UIC this year. I don't think our gentleman was here. He was running the mics and things, but I want to thank UIC for everything that they've done for this year. As you all know, I was a little late in doing some things here. Luckily, this fell through for me, so it worked out well. We've done it here a few years, so it's all worked out pretty good. So, we are in our 28th year of Future Cities. As Bob mentioned, we've done it for all 28 years. Started with 5, now we're up to, I haven't seen it for this year, I think it's in the 38 to 40 range. We are international. We normally have a couple teams from China that attend the national competition. We have Canadian teams, and I know there's been a couple other countries, I think Egypt's been trying to do it. And a couple others. So we are international. So the winner of our competition here today gets to go to Washington, D.C. for the national competition against 40 or so other teams. I will be out there. I actually run the judging for the national competition also. So I will be seeing the winners out there at least. It's really cool. We're staying at the Higher Regency on Capitol Hill. So if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., you walk out the front door of the Higher Regency, you look to the right, the Capitol building's right there. Perfect view. So there's a little bit of an issue going on in DC right now, so we'll see what happens with that. And then I want to thank our finals judges also, and all our other judges that helped with the preliminary thing. All our finals judges needed to get out for some other events, but I do want to thank them for their time that they did. So with that, we're going to go ahead and announce the awards. And I think for one of the first times ever, we're going to be done early. We all survived the snow this year. It wasn't as bad. We went out at 7 o'clock last night to go around. It was a little dicey at 7 o'clock downtown Chicago. By a little later, and then I got up at 6 and I was out on the road, and it was just kind of misty. It wasn't too bad. So we survived. We don't get snow since like Halloween, and now we get the same thing, which we got last year too, for those that didn't remember. So, okay, so I am going to do this a little unconventionally because if I will call the team. If you want a couple of these, I'm going to just go ahead and announce both of them now, so we can keep things moving. So the first one we're going to do is the first place for the virtual city. So this was scored remotely by our judges online. So our first place winner this year was Prairie Junior High. Are you coming the best model, and they have to put their name at the bottom so they're not voting for themselves. So it's a pretty good honor for them to be able to get that. So congratulations on that. Our first place essay this year was Lincoln Hall Middle School. Who's on there? Congratulations. Okay, next one is first place model. That is St. Paul of the Cross. And they were the first place presentation also. So, just to mention with that, the model and presentation scores are from the preliminary round judging. So, it has nothing to do with the finals. This is taken from the preliminary round. And it was pretty close with all of these, so very good job. Okay, so now we're getting down to the 5th place award. I did not get plaques ordered. I will get plaques. That will be one of the other things that will be coming with you, or coming with me when I come visit your school. So overall 5th place. Let me just mention, everyone did a great job. You know, judges were very impressed with everyone when they came back and we were talking a little bit afterwards. They were trying to figure out who they thought was best. And I'm like, well, you're only staring at us. You don't get to decide. And I do that in Washington when they're like, no, we want this one. Oh, sorry, you only get half the points. So the other half says this. So it was a good thing. I mean, they all enjoyed themselves. So 5th place team this year is Mohammed University of Islam, New York City. Forgetting. Student survey, you guys all have these. Did everyone turn those in? If you did not, bring it up here if you can after the thing, so we can get these. We do take these seriously. We don't do them every year. You were lucky to get it this year, but they do take a look at these and see. I should mention teachers, engineers, and such. And I don't know if the parents are going to get something too. You're going to get a survey online if you email or something like that, so you can complete those. So if there is any more of those, please bring them up before you go. Okay, 4th place team this year, Lincoln Hall Middle School. Who's on there? Okay. Overall, 3rd place team this year. Suspenseful. Wooddale Junior High. The 5th place team and 4th place team, so Mohammed University of Islam, Neal City, and Lincoln Hall Middle School. We need to get your picture over here so you get another photo op. So please come over to the photo op. we're just trying to make this a little more suspenseful. So what do you think? Who wants to go to Washington, D.C.? Okay. This is kind of fun. Good idea, man. So, should we just let them stay in and do this little bit? It's only 3:11, you know, we got a little more time, don't we? Okay. So, I'm going to announce the second place team. Let's give them a big round of applause, even though the first place team's going to know who they are then. So, it is St. Paul Lacrosse Bulls. Okay, sorry, I missed that. There's been too many. So, Prairie Junior High School, Neil Sinalta is our first place winner, and we'll be going one last thing, Bob made the comment.